My wife's conference trip didn't make sense. Suspicious, I called the hotel and asked a simple question. Can you confirm her reservation? The receptionist hesitated before saying, oh, she's in a suite. With her +1. My hands shook. That night, I sent her a message. Hope you're enjoying the view. I'm watching too. She read it and immediately called me, crying. But it was too late. I already knew everything. I never thought I'd be writing one of these, but here I am. I've been reading r/cheating_ stories for years. Never thought I'd be a part of it. My wife and I have been married for 12 years. Let's call her Sarah. We live in Chicago. No kids. We both work full-time, decent incomes, nothing crazy. Things were normal. Or so I thought. She works in corporate marketing for a major company. Think events, campaigns, networking, that kind of stuff. She travels once in a while for work. A couple days here, a couple days there. I never really questioned it. I trusted her. I really did. 3 weeks ago, she told me she had a 3-day conference in New York City. Said it was at a hotel near Central Park. She'd be flying out Monday morning and coming back Thursday night. Said the company paid for everything. Cool. Sounded normal. She's done this kind of thing before. But something felt off this time. It wasn't just a gut feeling, it was little things. The first red flag came when I asked her which hotel she was staying at. She hesitated for a second before saying, the Park Central. That hesitation? I noticed it. Didn't say anything, but it stuck with me. Second, she was packing more than usual. Full suitcase. Fancy clothes. Lingerie I hadn't seen in years. Again, I didn't say anything. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Thought maybe she just wanted to feel good, look good, whatever. I dropped her off at O'Hare Monday morning. She kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. That night, I texted her around 7 p.m. asking how her day went. No reply. At 9 p.m., I called. Straight to voicemail. At 10 p.m., I sent another message. You okay? Nothing. Next morning, 8 a.m., I got a text from her. Hey babe, sorry. It was such a long day yesterday. Meetings ran late, and then dinner. I was exhausted and just passed out. I wanted to believe it. I told myself it made sense. But something didn't sit right. That entire Tuesday was weird. She barely texted me. When she did, it was short stuff like going into a workshop or talk soon. She didn't call that night either. Said she was having drinks with a group from work. Wednesday morning, I woke up early. Couldn't sleep. Something just kept nagging at me. I logged into our joint bank account. I never usually do this. But curiosity got the better of me. There it was. 2 charges that made my stomach drop. One was from a restaurant in NYC. A Michelin star place, somewhere we went on our anniversary 2 years ago. She spent $280. The second was a charge at the hotel spa. $190. That's not normal conference behavior. Not for her. At that point, I had to know. I needed something concrete. So I called the hotel. I asked the front desk, can you confirm a reservation for Sarah, last name? There was a pause. The receptionist goes, yes, she's in a suite. Do you need to speak to her? I said, no, just confirming she's checked in. Did she check in alone? Another pause. Then she says, carefully, it's a suite with a +1. I froze. My hand was literally shaking. I asked her to repeat it. She said, yes, she has someone staying with her. I didn't ask who. I just said thanks and hung up. I sat in silence for a long time. I was angry. But more than that, I was numb. I wasn't even sure what to do. That night, I sent her a message. It said, hope you're enjoying the view. I'm watching too. She read it instantly. Not even a minute later, she called me. I didn't answer. She called again. Then again. Finally, I picked up. She was crying. Please don't do this, she said. It's not what it looks like. I didn't say anything. She kept talking. It's complicated. I didn't mean for this to happen. I swear, I didn't. I hung up. That was yesterday. She hasn't stopped texting and calling since. I haven't replied. I just keep reading her texts, seeing her beg, say she's sorry, say she needs to explain. I haven't told anyone yet. Not family, not friends. Just needed to get it out somewhere. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'll update if anyone's interested. Not sure what comes next, but I already know everything I need to know. I didn't plan to update so soon, but things moved fast. Too fast. After I posted, I stayed quiet. Ignored her texts. Didn't answer her calls. I needed space. I needed to think. But Sarah wasn't done. That night, around midnight, my phone lit up again. This time, it wasn't her. It was a number I didn't know. A New York number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, she texted me. Please pick up. He's going to tell you lies. Please, I'll explain everything. Just talk to me first. That stopped me cold. He? Now I'm wide awake. My heart's racing again. I listened to the voicemail. It's a man's voice. Low. Calm. Too calm. Hey, this is Mark. I thank you, and I need to talk, man. I didn't know she was married. She told me you two were separated. I swear I didn't know. I thought you should know. Call me if you want to talk. I sat there, stunned. Mark. I didn't recognize the name. I never heard her talk about him. He wasn't a coworker I knew of. And she never said anything about us being separated. That part hit hard. But this guy? He sounded honest. Calm. Not defensive. And the fact that he was reaching out to me? That didn't sound like some random sleazebag. I waited until morning. Then I called him. The guy picks up on the first ring. He starts apologizing right away. Says he feels sick. Says he wouldn't have touched her if he knew she was married. Said they met at some work retreat a few months ago. Vegas. Of course it was Vegas. She told him she was separated. Said she was almost divorced. Said I was controlling. He told me they'd been seeing each other for almost 2 months. Secret dinners. Business trips. Hotels in the city. He even said they went to Milwaukee for a weekend once. Said it was a networking event. Funny. She told me it was her niece's birthday that weekend. I didn't yell at the guy. I didn't cuss him out. He was calm. Honest. Maybe even embarrassed. And the worst part? He sounded hurt, too. He told me something else, something Sarah hadn't. He said he tried to end it after the New York trip. Said she got weird. Possessive. Said she didn't want to let go. That's when she panicked and told him I might find out. That I was watching. He said, when you texted her that thing about the view, she freaked out. That's when she finally told me you were her husband. She had been lying to both of us. I thanked him for being straight with me. Told him I wasn't mad at him. Then I hung up. That's when I knew Sarah didn't just cheat. She built a second life. A whole new story with a new guy. A new version of me that didn't exist. She told lies to keep both of us in the dark. I didn't answer her calls that day. Or the next. But then she showed up. I came home Friday evening and saw her sitting on the front steps. Eyes swollen. Hoodie on. Hair a mess. I didn't say anything. Just walked past her. She followed me inside. Please, she said. Let me talk. I stood in the hallway. Didn't sit. Didn't take my coat off. She started slow. Told me she was confused. Said things between us hadn't been good for a while. Said she was lonely. Said I wasn't present. I asked her, so your solution was to create an entirely new life? To lie to him? To lie to me? To sleep with someone and tell him I was abusive? She had no answer. Just more tears. I didn't think you'd find out like that, she finally said. That one sentence? That broke me. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I regret it. Not, I didn't mean to hurt you. Just, I didn't think you'd find out. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. She begged me not to leave. Said we could go to therapy. Said she'd end everything with Mark. But how do you fix something that was never real? I told her she needed to leave. Not forever, yet, but I couldn't even look at her. Told her I'd pack a bag if she wouldn't. She left. Now I'm here, sitting in a quiet house, wondering what else I don't know. Because here's the thing. If she could lie about this, what else has she hidden? Is this the only time? Was it really just a few months? Or have I been living in the dark for years? I don't know. And right now, I don't even know if I want to know. But I do know this. I'm not the same person I was a week ago. This story isn't over. Not by a long shot. I thought the worst was behind me. I thought the sweet lie, the second man, and the confrontation on my front porch was the full picture. I was wrong. After Sarah left the house that Friday night, things went quiet. Too quiet. No texts. No calls. That part surprised me. She was blowing up my phone every day after New York, begging to talk. Then suddenly radio silence. It felt off. I started wondering if maybe she gave up. Maybe she was with him again. Then Monday morning rolled around. I logged into our shared laptop to pay some bills. Nothing unusual. Until I noticed something. The Chrome browser had another user profile. She'd never had that before. Just out of instinct, I clicked it. It opened up a separate Google account. Logged in. Already synced. And that's when I saw it. s.james.consulting@gmail.com. What? Sarah's maiden name starts with J. But she never mentioned this email. I stared at the inbox like I was looking at a bomb. I opened it. First thing I noticed, it wasn't just for work. In fact, there weren't any real work emails in there at all. What I did find were hundreds of emails between her and Mark. Going back almost a year. I felt physically sick. There were photos, hotel bookings, screenshots of calendar events labeled client dinner, but the confirmations were for weekend getaways. I saw messages like, counting down to Boston. Can't wait to have you to myself again. Still thinking about Chicago. That night in the tub. I've never felt that way before. And this one, he'll be out late for his poker night. I'll call you then. That hit me like a truck. Because I remember those nights. I remember playing poker once a month with my buddies, always thinking she was just chilling at home, ordering takeout, watching Netflix. Nope. She was on the phone with him, probably in our bed. But it gets worse. There was another folder, titled Vegas. I opened it. Inside were a bunch of scanned documents. Plane tickets. Receipts. One caught my eye. A confirmation email from a chapel. A wedding chapel. Date, 7 months ago. That didn't make sense. I clicked into it. It was just a wedding package reservation under both their names. For fun, maybe? A fake wedding? Except I found the pictures. They weren't just for fun. There they were, standing under fake pink roses, wearing dumb grins and holding hands. Her in a white sundress. Him in a navy button-up. My stomach dropped again. I had seen that dress before. She wore it to brunch with my mom 3 weeks after that Vegas trip. This wasn't some fling. She was emotionally married to this guy. I sat there for an hour, shaking, just scrolling. I don't even remember half the stuff I saw. It was too much. My mind just went numb. But then I did something stupid. I emailed him. Just one sentence. You still think she was separated? He replied 20 minutes later. WTF. He didn't know. He really didn't. I told him everything I found. Sent him screenshots. He responded once more. She told me she wanted to leave you. Said she just needed time. I didn't know about any of this other stuff. Now we were both spiraling. He asked me, what are you going to do? I didn't respond. Because I don't know. I haven't told Sarah I found the email. Not yet. She texted me this morning. Can we talk this week? I've been giving you space. I still love you. I want to fix this. Fix what? What is there to fix after a secret email, fake weddings, and 2 lives stacked on top of each other? This isn't about just cheating anymore. This was a double life. A second phone number. A backup email. A pretend future with someone else while living under my roof. I don't even know who I married anymore. But I know one thing. I'm not the fool she thinks I am. And this story? Still not over. After I found the secret email account, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I'd walk around the house and see her face in every memory. It felt like the air itself was poisoned. But I still hadn't told her I knew. I was holding onto that card for the right moment. And it came sooner than I thought. That Thursday, I got an invite. It was for a company event, Sarah's company. A spring mixer at a hotel downtown. They'd invited families and spouses. I wasn't going to go. Why the hell would I? But then I had an idea. A terrible one. A reckless one. But I followed through. I emailed her back. I'll come. She replied within minutes. I'm so happy. Maybe this can be the start of something new. She had no idea. That night, I dressed well. Nothing too flashy. Just enough to look like I belonged. The event was in one of those sleek rooftop lounges. Open bar. Loud music. Everyone dressed to impress. I walked in, scanned the crowd, and saw her. She was smiling, laughing with 2 coworkers. Hair done. Wearing that black dress I bought her last Christmas. The same one she wore on our anniversary. I walked up behind her and tapped her shoulder. She turned, and her face did that thing people's faces do when they've seen a ghost. Frozen. Then she smiled. Pulled me in for a hug. You came. Wouldn't miss it, I said. I smiled too. Then I leaned in and whispered in her ear. How's s.james.consulting@gmail.com doing these days? Her entire body went stiff. She pulled back slowly, eyes wide. What? I kept smiling. Relax, I said. We'll talk soon. Then I stepped back and disappeared into the crowd. She followed me 15 minutes later. Cornered me near the elevators. You need to leave, she said, voice low. I looked her dead in the eyes. No. You need to start telling the truth. Right there, in the middle of her work event, she started to unravel. At first, she whispered, please don't do this here. But I didn't stop. I told her I knew everything. The secret email. The photos. The Vegas fake wedding. The calls to Mark. The lies to me, to him, to everyone. And then I raised my voice. Just enough to turn heads. Did you ever plan on telling the truth, Sarah? Or were you going to keep playing house with me while building a second life with him? People were looking now. Coworkers. Her boss. A guy from HR. She panicked. She grabbed my arm and tried to pull me aside, but I didn't move. You lied to me for a year. A year. You had dinner with him the same night you kissed me goodbye and said, I love you. You faked a wedding. Who even does that? She started crying. Real tears. Not the dramatic kind, guttural, broken sobs. Her mascara smeared. Her hands shook. I didn't know what I was doing, she whispered. I didn't mean to fall in love with him. It just happened. But I didn't want to lose you either. And there it was. She loved him. That hit harder than anything else. I turned to go. She grabbed my arm again. Please. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. That's when one of her coworkers, a younger woman I vaguely recognized, walked over. She said, everything okay here? Sarah looked down. Couldn't speak. I looked at the woman and said, no. But thanks for asking. And then I left. She tried calling that night. Texted over and over. Please don't leave like this. Please come home. We can talk. I didn't reply. Next morning, her sister called me. Said Sarah was a wreck. Asked what happened. I told her everything. She didn't sound surprised. She's been different for a while, she said. But I didn't think it was this bad. Then her mom called. Same story. We always thought you were too good for her, but we stayed quiet. The floodgates opened. Turns out, the lies weren't just to me. She lied to everyone. Told her friends I was distant. Told her coworkers we were separated. Told Mark I was a jealous, emotionally abusive husband. Every person she had lied to, Mark, me, her family, was now circling around her, holding the broken pieces of her story. A week later, she moved her stuff out. No yelling. No fights. Just quiet. Cold. Final. I didn't help her pack. I just watched. Before she left, she asked if I still loved her. I didn't answer. Truth is, I don't know. Love doesn't just disappear. But respect, trust, that's gone. I haven't seen her since. Divorce papers are being drafted. She moved into a small apartment on the north side. Mark? I heard he blocked her. Guess he saw what I saw in the end. A person who'd rather build lies than face her truth. I still feel numb some days. Other days, I feel free. I walk around the house and realize how quiet peace really sounds. I think about what I missed, what I ignored, what I let slide. And yeah, I've got regrets. I wish I'd seen it sooner. I wish I'd trusted my gut. But mostly, I wish I'd asked more questions before it all burned down. So where does that leave me? Hopeful? No. Desolate? Not anymore. Just awake. And that's something.